Let the debate begin, and the debate ensues in no more appropriate place than the voice of college football, Mark Rogers TV. Let's run down the very best and the greatest of the decade that was. We are closing in on the end of the decade from 2010 through 19, and I've got a list of my top 10 quarterbacks right here. Please leave your list down in the comments section below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. At number 10, we've got Stanford's Andrew Luck, who played under Jim Harbaugh for 3 starting seasons in 2009, 10, and 11. Of course, Stanford football prior to Harbaugh was dismal. 1 win, then 4, then 5. Then Luck took over at quarterback and won 8 games, 8-5 record in 2009. His 2 seasons in the decade that was 12-1 and then 11-2. 23-3 starting quarterback record in his final 2 campaigns. 2 of those 3 losses to Oregon cost Stanford a shot at the national championship. He completed 71% of his passes in both of those seasons, 32 and 37 touchdowns, and about 3,500 yards passing in both of those seasons. In his last game, his final effort for the Cardinal, Luck lost the game 31-27 to Oklahoma State in the Fiesta Bowl in overtime, but he completed 27 of 31 passes, led his team to 590 total yards of offense by throwing for 347 yards in the loss to Brandon Weeden and Oklahoma State en route to his selection as the number 1 overall player in the NFL draft the following April. Andrew Luck's our number 10 player of the decade at quarterback. At number 9, we certainly have a player who, had he played more than just 1 season, would have been much higher on the list. So I was balancing the quantity of play versus the quality of play, which was scintillating when you're talking about Cam Newton at Auburn. A historic run for him and the Auburn Tigers in 2010 en route to a national championship. Cam Newton, of course, signed at Florida, transferred to Auburn. He made his presence known first and foremost in a 27-24 win against Clemson, in which he threw for 203 yards on September 18th. The following week against South Carolina on the Plains, he officially announced his arrival as a top starting quarterback by totaling 5 touchdowns and 334 total yards in a 16-21 passing effort in a win against South Carolina. In that one, it marked the stretch of games in which Cam Newton led Auburn to very close wins in tight SEC affairs. First against Clemson, then in the conference against South Carolina, Kentucky, Auburn, and LSU. Cam Newton was the difference in a championship season by far, and of course it was capped off by the historic comeback against Alabama in the Iron Bowl on the road in Tuscaloosa, coming back from 24-0 down to win it 28-27. Cam Newton threw 30 touchdowns, 7 picks. He ran for 1,586 yards and 24 touchdowns as he led Auburn to a 13-0 record and, of course, the national championship win over Oregon. Our number 9 quarterback for the decade of the 2010s is Cam Newton of Auburn. At number 8, he won the 2016 Heisman Trophy. He led the Louisville Cardinals from 2015 through 17. He was not a polished passer in college. He's becoming one at the NFL level right now. He is, of course, Lamar Jackson. He completed 57% of his passes for that run at Louisville. He didn't necessarily play in important games. He went 25-14, so his team was decent, but not among the elite of college football. But his numbers were jaw-dropping and eye-popping all at the same time. In his Heisman Trophy campaign, he ran for 1,571 yards and 21 touchdowns. The next year, he ran for over 1,600 yards and 18 touchdowns. He threw for 3,500 and 3,600 yards in those 2 seasons. And again, his team was not dominant, but he had the chance. He had the chance in a 1 game against Clemson in 2016 with his team ranked 3rd in the country, 4-0 on the road at Clemson. Of course, they went on to a national championship season. Down 28-10, he led the Cardinals to 26 consecutive points, threw for 457 yards of total offense, actually, and 3 touchdowns. And in that final drive on a 4th down play, he completed a pass to James Quick, who made a less than stellar effort in trying to convert the first down, or else Louisville may have derailed Clemson's national championship season in 2016 and extended its record to 5-0 and possible number 1 ranking. Lamar Jackson was a video game machine all unto himself in that 2016 and 17 seasons. Lamar Jackson is our number 8 quarterback for the decade. At number 7, we go out to Boise State and their all-time passing leader, Kellen Moore, who led the Broncos 4 consecutive years. He was the starting quarterback from 2008 through 11. He completed just under 70% of his passes for almost 15,000 yards, 142 touchdown passes, and just 28 interceptions. He led his team, get this, to records of 12-1, 14-0, 12-1, 12-1. Conference records of 8-0, 8-0, 7-1, 6-1. Top 10 finishes all of those seasons, including a Fiesta Bowl win to cap off that perfect season over TCU in 2009. Only a missed field goal against Nevada and Colin Kaepernick kept Boise State from possibly playing for a national championship the following season. He led the Broncos to ranked wins over Power 5 teams such as Oregon twice, Oregon State when they were good, Georgia, Virginia Tech, in going 50-3 for his collegiate career and 29-2 in the conference. Kellen Moore is our number 7 quarterback of the decade. At number 6, at MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football's quarterbacks of the decade, we've got Tua Tagovailoa of Alabama. Of course, he broke onto the scene and took everyone by storm at halftime of the 2017 National Championship game against Georgia. With his team trailing by 13 points, Nick Saban inserted Tua into the game, and he led the remarkable comeback against the Bulldogs to win the national championship. After being sacked, trailing by 3 points in overtime, needing a score to tie the game and extend the game or eventually win it, on 2nd and long, he didn't go for the dump down pass to get his team in a manageable 3rd down. He went for the jugular and threw a perfect ball to Devontae Smith in the left back corner of the end zone to win the national championship and take over the starting job at Alabama. In 2018, he completed 69% of his passes, 71% of his passes this past season, 4,000 and 2,800 yards. Of course, he was injured in this past season against Tennessee and was not able to complete the current season, but threw 76 touchdowns in those 2 seasons and only 9 interceptions. Check out the record at 21-2 and the TD to interception ratio, and more than that, watch the play on the field and the way he can spin it, and you would agree with me, Tua Tagovailoa earned his ranking as the 6th best quarterback of the decade. At number 5, we've got Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel, the 2012 Heisman Trophy winner at Texas A&M, who with his swag, with his playmaking ability, and just his overall personality and nuances on the field, Johnny Football captured the nation of college football. Wow. Just to watch what he did against the schedule that he performed against in 2012, it was just amazing to watch him improvise, watch the quickness, the playmaking ability, and again, the swag. It seemed as though Johnny Football, anytime he needed to pick up a first down with his feet, he was just fast enough to beat an SEC defender to the sticks to get it done. He would make plays in the backfield and escape almost impossible situations to make plays downfield. In 2012, he accounted for 21 touchdowns, rushing, 26 passing. And of course, that season was highlighted by him going to Tuscaloosa, defeating Alabama 26-21 and taking down the number 1 Tide. The next season, he threw 37 touchdowns and accounting for just about 50 touchdowns, 30 rushing in his career, and you can see the numbers below as he won 20 of 26 starts. Johnny Manziel, our number 5 quarterback of the decade of the 2010s. All right, MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. Please like, comment, share the videos, and subscribe for the best in college football analysis, including what you bring to the table as well. as we are the voice of college football. At number 4 in our list of top 10 quarterbacks of the decade, we've got Baker Mayfield of Oklahoma. Of course, his career started at Texas Tech, but he then transferred to Oklahoma. Before he did, he turned out a pretty good year as a walk-on at Texas Tech in becoming the first ever walk-on to start a college football game in week 1 as a true freshman. Then, of course, he moved on and did his damage at Oklahoma in 2016 and 17 and also 2015. 3 seasons as starting quarterback at Oklahoma. His numbers are ridiculous. He led Oklahoma to 3 Big 12 championships, 2 college football playoff appearances, and of course he planted the flag in Columbus, one of his many antics, both on and off the field, that are part of the legend as well. For Baker Mayfield, the 2017 Heisman Trophy winner, check out the numbers below. He threw 131 touchdowns. He ran for 21. He led Oklahoma to a 34-6 record as starting quarterback. Our number 4 quarterback is Baker Mayfield of Oklahoma. All right, now our top 3. We go to Clemson and a national championship winner in 2018, Trevor Lawrence. Clemson started quarterback for the past 2 seasons. The number 1 high school quarterback coming out along with Justin Fields lit it up. But he was not the starter from week 1. Kelly Bryant was the starting quarterback, but Dabo Swinney made a decision. He knew that his team could win an ACC championship and compete in the college football playoff with Kelly Bryant as starting quarterback. But he knew that if he wanted to secure a national championship, he would have to insert the freshman, and that he did. And Trevor Lawrence threw 30 touchdowns and delivered with just 4 interceptions, a 65% completion percentage, but he saved his very best for the best opponents in the biggest stage in the college football playoff, completing 27 of 39 against Notre Dame, 327 yards, 3 TDs, no picks, and in the national title game against Alabama, 20 of 32, 347 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and no INTs against the Tide in leading a 44-16 rout of Alabama. 64 touchdowns, 12 interceptions for his career, and a 67% completion percentage. As you check out the numbers below, Trevor Lawrence is our number 3 quarterback of the decade, with, of course, more work to do. All right, in our Voice of College Football top 10 quarterbacks of the 2010s, we have now risen to quarterback number 2. Heisman Trophy winner from 2014, Marcus Mariota. He led the Ducks 3 seasons at quarterback, completed 67% of his passes with 105 touchdown passes and only 14 picks. He threw for almost 11,000 yards and ran for another 29 touchdowns. He led the Ducks to 36 wins in 41 starts. He was electric on the field, both running and throwing the football. He was 3-0 in the postseason before the national championship game against Ohio State in 2014. He ran an offense that was quick, explosive, and elusive, of course, in his decision-making. He threw 42 touchdowns against only 4 picks in his Heisman Trophy winning season of 2014. Our number 2 quarterback of the decade of the 2010s is Marcus Mariota of Oregon. Now, to our number 1 quarterback of the decade. We go back to Clemson, and we find Deshaun Watson. Starting quarterback for Clemson in 2014, 15, and 16. National championship game appearance in 15, and he won it all in 2016. Look at the 2 games against Alabama in the title tilts. In 2015, he accounted for 478 yards of total offense and virtually rode Clemson on his back and almost pulled off a win against mighty Bama, losing 45-40, and then the next year he completed the mission. Trailing 14-0, taking on a devastating Alabama pass rush, he withstood the punch in the mouth and brought Clemson back with 2 fourth-quarter drives that were beautiful, scintillating, making plays down the field with his arm, picking up key third-down conversions with his legs, and throwing, of course, the game-winning touchdown to Hunter Renfrow with 1 second left to win the national championship. A game in which he threw the ball 56 times for 420 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks against that NFL defense on 56 pass attempts. This guy was clutch, and that's what clinched his number 1 ranking for the decade. Overall, the numbers are more than great. 10,000 yards passing, 90 touchdowns, 32 picks, 26 rushing touchdowns, and leading Clemson to 32 wins and just 4 losses. And again, 2 national championship game appearances and the 2016 trophy. Our top 10 right here at Mark Rogers TV as we look at the quarterbacks and hope to get more categories to you very soon. Again, if you love college football, this is your place to be. Like the videos, comment, share the videos out in social media, and subscribe right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.